As you can see, we are definitely safely ensconced in the inner sanctum. Man,
We're
we love
here.
that. I just love that theme. All right, this is episode number 77, and we are due for a packed show today. That is for sure. First, however, our this is an easy one. The Yahoo of the week is Burt Marshall, and we will name him. This is the guy that stole $90 million from people over decades. Guy was trusted by people, started out good, got over his head. People lost their life savings, man. I mean, it's horrific stuff.
$90 million.
Yeah. Now we're talking about local people. You know what I mean? You're not talking about super wealthy people. You're talking about people who lost everything.
What was the Madoff? He wasn't really. It's not like
that was billions.
It was billions.
Billions, hundreds of billions. That was really bad.
Those whole offices were taken down.
Oh yeah. And the good news is the amphitheater celebrates 10 years this year.
I like that.
Fabulous.
Do you remember the first concert there?
Yeah, because it wasn't the full season. It was one show. It was a country show.
Yeah.
It
At
was
that time,
a
the
country
biggest
show.
female.
Miranda Lambert.
That's it.
Yeah, about that.
I was working for. I was in between doing the radio full or the music full time, and
Right.
I was working for AT&T.
Oh, okay.
And I remember it coming over the notification of who it was. And,
Yeah, that was great too.
You can't get anybody bigger for the first one.
And then there was some complaints about it over the years, but it's 10th anniversary now, and we're lucky to have it. So,
and they fixed a lot of those complaints.
They did.
A lot of the parking and the
Yes, they did.
complaints have been fixed.
However, my gripe is and always will be that you can't sit, and that bothers me. Unless you want to sit. You can't on the lawn. You can't sit.
No more.
No.
The packed shows.
Yeah,
Yes.
you can't. So that's too bad. Other than that, it's awesome. I've seen some great shows there, and I'm so happy we have it. Now, so I was driving by. Our guest is here. So we'll get to that later because we have we have three special guests today, but the first one is going to be both a back in the day and a current event segment. Let's bring in our guest, the great Scott MacFarlane. Scotty Mac is here in the house, and you know him probably from CBS television. However, I know him from WSYR radio, right, Scott?
That's right. Back in the days, my favorite day. Let's talk about it. WSYR, the freaking powerhouse of Central New York.
Yep.
We all spent a lot of time there.
We did. What years were you there, Scott?
94 to 98, which I think it may be peak or post-peak, but we had like 30 people running around the newsroom.
I know.
And really CBS.
And really good people too. Really good people. So I'm so proud of the people that have gone on that I got the chance to lead for a little while, and which was terrible, but that's okay. You guys have gone on regardless. So Scott, you went to you were on network television, man, and then you decided, look, I'm going to do my own thing. Why'd you do that?
Network television circa 2026. It may not be the same as when I was dreaming of entering it when you and I worked together. And that's not a political statement, but
no,
it is a medium that needs to evolve to stay alive. People are not going to wait till 6:30 p.m. to find out what happened in the world today. And they're not going to wait through commercial breaks for 22 minutes of news product that doesn't have something exclusive or unique to it. And so unless you're bringing something to the party that I can't find anywhere else, doesn't seem like it's the best fit for me, though it may be for other people. Just doesn't feel like the best fit for me.
So here's the thing to me. The new media is not Bill Ali, right, going out and shooting a news story, okay? Right. The new media is people like Scott coming off in network TV, which is irrelevant now, and doing what he's doing right now. This is the type of thing that you and I do, Bill, on a micro basis. Scott, if we see news that affects local people here, we go live, on our little podcast thing. You're doing it on a much broader scale. And who's the company that you've hooked up with now?
It's called Midas Touch Network, which is growing a news organization to match their opinion space stuff, which has got 6 million YouTube subscribers,
awesome.
Tens of millions of social videos a day. That's 3 to 4 times that I used to reach on the CBS Morning News. And this audience is engaged. No disrespect to the TV audience, but when's the last time you watched television without a phone or iPad in your lap? And you're only passively watching that when you're listening to Jim Reith, when you're watching social videos and digital news sources, you're actually watching them. You're engaged.
Because you can't have two things in your hand. That's why. I like it's 100%.
No, it's true. It
Yeah.
is true, because when I watch the evening news now, I still watch Muir because he's Muir and we know him, and so we watch that. But I have my phone in my
Yep.
hand. There's no doubt about it.
Yep.
That's great. But you are the future. You and people like you, Scott, to me, are the future. Really credible news people who are now doing their own thing or hooking up with like people who think the way that you do. And now you're presenting news. And like you said, it's not political. You're presenting stuff that's going on almost at the moment that it goes on. And like, for instance, you covered the arraignment of the so-called shooter at the banquet, right?
Yeah.
And so you do stuff like that. Now, and I know that you posted a video explaining why you weren't going to the banquet that night. And so, you missed the news story of the decade, but it's okay. You continue to do your thing. So you could have gone to the banquet, right?
Yeah, I stopped going a couple years ago. I had a real problem with celebrating the First Amendment side by side with Trump and Pete Hegseth. It's
Yes.
not even so much a political statement as it is they are truly suing and menacing media organizations. Their
Right.
press policy is what I have an objection to. I thought it would be at the height of hypocrisy to be next to them to talk about the importance of journalism and holding the power to account. If you're going to hold the power to account, you can't break bread with them, toast them, and stand on a plug when they enter a room.
I agree. Here's a guy who has standards, right? And so you see all the other people bend the knee, and that's their decision. Whatever, you're going to do that. That's fine. I mean, you need access to the guy if you're going to get news or whatever, but that is going to come to an end soon too. We've seen this administration just shred the Constitution when it comes to journalists, and they'll continue to do so until they're stopped through the ballot box. And I think it's going to get much worse before it gets better. This is why we need people like Scott MacFarlane. And this is why we need people like that company that you're working for now. We have to have it. And I know my son has just turned 30. He hasn't listened to the radio in years. All he does is listen to podcasts. And I think that's where we're headed, Scott. I do. I think you're right at the forefront.
I think you'd be hard pressed to find a teenager who learned how to drive or a college student who knows what those presets or even how they work on the car radio, much less have a use for them. And I'm trying to be a model of how you go independent, just like you have been, Jim and Bill, because as an awful lot of my colleagues are going to have to do this, whether they know it or not, soon. The same way WSYR is now an empty shed when it used to have 30 of us running around gathering news. That's coming for other legacy media organizations soon. So I decided to voluntarily depart and take my adventure into my own hands, but some others are going to have this thrust upon them. And so here's the key. Does it matter if you're covering Jamesville DeWitt high school sports or you're covering national politics, if you're covering the Syracuse Common Council? If you're out there enterprising and finding unique content, the audience will find you. They will congregate around you, even if you don't go blasting with a megaphone to get them. They're going to find unique content or enterprising content. So it doesn't much matter what your beat is. There's money to be made and audience to be had independently, because you both know this already, but I'm going to emphasize it. There is more trust right now in individuals than institutions. I have more credibility now, it seems, when I divorced from major media organizations than I had when I had their brand, because that's just the populist moment we're living in. So independent journalists are thriving on that.
Absolutely. Well said, for sure. Because like you said, when you were dreaming of being on network TV, that was it for credibility. Network TV was it. These people were just invaluable. And now, like you said, you probably get more respect from people you cover now that you're not with somebody, because now they can't label you fake news or this or that. You were CNN. I'm not going to talk to you. No, I'm Scott MacFarlane, man. Just talk to me. You're not talking to CNN. You're talking to me and my content. Although the one thing I will say for content creators, which is different from what we're doing, there was a woman was on the beach and she was walking down the beach, and there had to be 15 content creators on the beach with their cameras stuck in the sand. And so it's going to get saturated, but it's people who have credibility, who get into it quickly, who are going to rise to the top. And you're among them. There's no doubt about it. Scott, it's been awesome having you, man. I can't wait to have you again. We'll continue our conversation. I wish you all the best. You're right at the forefront. Like I said, man, you're right at the vanguard. And I know you're going to do great things in the future.
Anytime, and Bill, please be clear. Jim's a mentor, whether he knows it or not.
He is.
Okay. Thanks, Scott. It's great to see you, man.
Well, thank you very much, Scott. We'll talk to you soon. He's a great guy.
Oh my.
We'll get him on
God,
soon.
he
We'll
was
get
the
him on. We'll have him
best.
for some.
You got to follow him, man.
Yeah.
You got to watch his
Yeah.
stuff. Everybody out there, you got to follow him and watch his stuff. It's unbelievable. It's great. It's great stuff. So here's the network news guy, right? Now, CBS is awful place to work now, of course. But like he said, they're all going to be awful to work at very soon. So you just saw Trump is going after all the ABC stations.
Yep.
That's Channel 9 to look at their licenses to see if they,
It's so blatant.
Right. It is. That's the same thing Shalene said.
They don't care anymore.
Right. Right. They don't even try to hide it anymore. It's just,
And
it's
listen,
awful.
I don't care what what you think or what side of the aisle you're on. Don't watch it, first of all. And if you think him saying that the age difference between them is inciting violence, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't.
I don't know.
So-
There are, and yes, there are people on both sides of the aisle that have used words that incite violence. And that is the reason these are whack jobs, because these people are, first of all, the people that go and do these things, there's something wrong with them in their head.
Yes.
That should be first and foremost. There's something wrong with these people. Anybody that wants to physically harm another individual for death just because there's something wrong.
Right.
That's the guy in Butler, Pennsylvania. There's something wrong with him. That's the person that went after Gabby Giffords. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle. There's something wrong. That is what needs to be. That's what needs to be discussed first.
Yeah, a rational human being doesn't think I'm gonna grab my AR and go shoot a bunch of people.
First of all,
'Cause
the
I'm
last
pissed.
thing I want to do is go through all that. It's too much rigmarole if you go and do that kind of thing.
We don't like rigmarole.
We don't like milling around, and we don't like rigmarole.
No.
So yes, I'll sit on my soapbox and yell to the clouds as much as I want, because that's my First Amendment right.
Correct.
But I'm not going to ever create any violence with anybody.
No.
Because first of all, it's not worth it. And then you're coming to a part that it's just not worth it.
Well, first of all, it's the wrong thing to do.
Right.
Secondly, it's not worth it. It's not
And
worth it.
someday you might have to.
We never did this on our show ever.
Never.
We never said anything to incite anybody into anything.
Nope.
It's wrong to do. Of course it's wrong.
I always
It's
like
awful.
to have all. I mean, look at last week we did with Ryan McMahon and the Zoo and Marty, the Zoo. Both sides, we got we got everybody talked, and what happened the next day?
Right. Everything was signed.
Everything was settled.
We're taking credit for that,
Yeah,
by the way.
I was going to say that. We're going to, next time you need anything like that, just come this way.
Yes. So
we'll charge half.
What I was saying, that's right. That's right. What I was saying beforehand is it's the 10th anniversary, now the AMP, and now we have the aquarium that's almost done. And you have to understand that it's going to be completely state of the art and whatnot. But I started looking at it from a broader context, okay? I started looking at it from the fact that Micron's here. And so across the street is going to be a bunch of companies too. And so what would bring a company here now besides Micron? Well, when you start listing all the stuff that we have now or will have, it's pretty impressive. I mean, when you can tell an employer, look, we've got a world-class zoo, we're going to have a world-class aquarium, trust me. The Inner Harbor is really coming alive. We have Armory Square. You have Destiny, which is one of the largest malls in the eastern United States. I don't care whether you like it or not. It is.
You have nice hotels right around that area.
Yes. And it's changing, and it's changing really quickly. So, while I'm not an aquarium guy, because A, they're expensive, and B, it's like a one-time thing for me or a two-time thing. But in the broader context of things, yes, they are very good to have. That's why major cities have them. I mean, if they weren't successful and they weren't a good thing to have as a total, I'm looking at toto in your community, right? It's a good thing to have. I'll go at least once.
At least.
Yeah. I mean,
I think I'm going to talk to the powers. Maybe we're going to do our show there once.
we could do that. I mean, how many times have you been to the zoo? I've been to the zoo a dozen times at least, right? I mean, at least. Even as an adult. I mean, with your kids, you go all the time. Love that place. Love it.
Even their extracurricular Brew at the Zoo.
Yes.
At the Zoo. I've been to those probably more than just regular.
Great stuff.
And that's a top dollar. That's a more involved ticket.
Yes.
You're paying more for that.
Yeah.
But the value is there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I really think the zoo, places like this need to start it needs to start coming back. We need to start getting the tablets and the phones out of our kids' hands. We need the museums. We need the aquariums.
Yeah.
We need the zoos.
Concert halls.
Yes, and even schools can. When back when I was doing theater for the Syracuse Children's Theater, we did Of Mice and Men, and they brought in all the kids to the Civic Center to watch the show. That's all we did it for.
I remember
schools.
that,
and that's just great programming. And
Yes.
and I don't know. I know those folks personally, and I'm actually going to reach out. Are those programs still? Because funding is so thin these days.
Yeah.
I think I always say it, and I've said it on this program, the arts are some of the most important things to get the kids involved in, because not only does it engage them in something that's other than a screen, it's been shown that grades are higher when you're involved in music and art programs.
And I used to, when I worked at the county, the building downtown, the Civic Center downtown, I would see the kids come out from those shows, and they would all be saying how, they were all happy and what a great show it was, because the buses would be lined up right there, and you'd see them go in, and then they'd come out and they loved it. I mean, it's just such a great experience for a child to see a show like that, especially Mice and Men's a great show.
You got to read it anyways.
Yes, that's right.
So why not see it, come to live?
Right.
And my daughter has that problem as a student. She sometimes needs to be read to or shown things so she can comprehend it more. And I think the more money that can be used on that stuff is good. The Red House is perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Leg for that.
And so now that they've gotten rid of phones in school, and now everyone should be used to it. I mean, it's been a year, right? So that cuts down on screen time a lot, and that helps. And now I guess there's after school programs where screens aren't allowed, which is great. Sports, of course, but yeah, kids spend way too much time on a screen, and it's not healthy at all for them. So.
I think because of the way the politics are in this world and the way parents are and everything, I think we've lost trust in our schools for the wrong reasons. I know I hear the argument all the time about, well, my kid has to have his phone. What if something happens? I mean, stuff's going to happen. You have to trust these people. They know what they're doing.
Yeah. What happened 40 years ago when we didn't have cell phones and something happened, I mean,
but you also look on the other side of the coin, 40 years ago, we weren't going through this.
Right. Mass shootings.
Yes.
Right. I agree.
But we now have the training. Schools have the training. I mean, my daughters come home and said they've done lockout drills. And I look at my wife and I go, can you imagine when we were in school having to do a lockout drill? I mean, it was crazy. We had to when you were in school, didn't you have the air raid drills?
Yes. You want to know what we did? I was just going to mention this, and you brought it up. You went out into the hallway, right? Put your arm up against the wall and did this.
What's that?
That's your air raid drill. Yep.
So there's that era that was up until about the 80s. The 80s were in.
So
and then you have all I remember doing was just good old fire drills.
Right.
We loved it. The bell would go off and you thought the greatest thing in the world just happened.
Definitely.
We'd all march out, parade back, line up, go. And now it's the lockout drills that they have at schools.
So what is that? What is a lockout drill?
So they have what they're supposed to do if a mass shooter comes into the
oh boy.
So I remember when Aria was going to Liverpool school, she was going to Elmcrest.
Okay.
There's a bridge from Elmcrest to Long Branch. That's one of the routes. That's one of the escape routes. They would take that to go for a drill. Yes. And that was, before right around COVID. So, 5-6 years ago.
Right.
But that's just where we are today.
It is
where we are today.
It's awful. It is.
But I have very, very confident in my daughter's school district. CNS school district is very good. I love the idea that she doesn't have a phone all day.
Yep.
I wish I could do more of it at home, but it's just the nature of the beast. But she's gotten really good over the last year of trying to navigate not screen time and try to do other stuff.
Well, I think a lot of kids are doing it, and I think a lot of parents are waking up to it. So that's good.
And it's the parents, it comes down to the parents not sitting at the table doing it either.
Right. That's true.
And we're all
that's very true.
We're all
you have to engage your children.
I just found out my daughter loves like the World War II era social studies stuff, so we talk about that. It's funny.
Really?
Yeah, she likes that era of. She has got questions about it. That's what they're doing now, I guess. She actually, we were discussing something, and she came in with I was like, wow, because it's funny because that was the stuff that I really stuck to.
Yeah, me too.
Because I really was never a math or a science
I liked history.
person. I loved history.
Yeah.
Love history. And then when I got out of school, I learned about the history of the mafia.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm way into that.
There's a new one on Netflix,
Really?
American Gangster. It's a episodic, and it's each it's 3 or 4 episodes, an hour each, but it's each like era of how the mafia started from the
no
beginning
kidding. Okay.
to where it is today.
Okay.
It's very good.
I'll check that
Gangster.
out. I've probably watched every mafia movie or TV special ever.
I try to go looking for them now with some of the boutique labels that I watch. I found like an Italian box set of all like Italian mob movies where the mobster is in jail, and it's great. It's good stuff.
I took a class in high school called Organized Crime in America, and that was my first entree into organized crime. Although The Godfather was what, 72?
Yep.
Yeah, so that had been done. Yeah,
I read a book.
It's fascinating.
I think I read a book right out of high school into college called Omerta, which is that's the law of the mafia. That's
Prohibition is what started it.
Yes.
Prohibition started organized crime because people couldn't get a drink because
if you're into the mob at all, that American Kid takes you right through it. It wasn't even I didn't even have my eye on it. It just kind of showed up.
Yeah.
And I think it might have been something that was on regular television or cable television the last couple of years, and they just put it all on Netflix now. There's a couple good documentaries out now. Sky King. Heard of this one?
No.
It's on Hulu. So in my doom scrolling that I do at night, a couple times have come up on TikTok this FAA recording of this kid that hijacked a plane.
Oh.
And didn't want to harm anybody.
Well, he dies, right?
Yeah, he dies at the end of it.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to kill himself is basically what was going on. His depression.
I remember that.
But it's an hour and a half documentary, and they take you almost minute by minute of him they use the recordings, and some of his family members haven't heard that stuff, and they're listening to it. It's very emotional.
Wow.
And then they tried, they being the media and everybody else, tried to pinpoint him as a white supremacist because he said something about being the white guy and not being able to get the job that he wanted. And I guess the big part of this documentary was the family kind of saying that this not what we don't want to paint him this way, because he was just a fun-loving kid that just kind of had enough. And in that documentary, you can tell. Yeah, I mean, he's so matter of fact when he's talking to the FAA guy and the pilots that are helping him fly this plane. He hijacked. He took the plane from the airport in Washington, took off, wanted to see the mountain ranges, went around the mountain, wanted to do a barrel roll, thinking that the barrel roll would be the end of it. He nailed the barrel roll with 10 feet off of the surface of the water. It's a fantastic. I've said this before. Documentaries today are on another level because of all the technology we have, body cams,
absolutely,
audio recordings. There's documentaries on Netflix that have just all been put together with phone calls, Ring cameras, and police body cam, and it tells the whole story of the crime, the true crime stuff.
We're watching the next Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah,
can't remember what it's called, but we just
my
watched a couple.
Huge into that.
Oh, I love it. We've watched a couple so far.
There was also that one, and I got to go back and watch it. I think it might be on Apple TV or something where it's curated. But if the Germans won instead of
I've heard about that. Yeah,
I can't remember the name of it. But it's on one of those. My wife liked it, which was different for her, but because it's that alternate historical reality thing. I can't remember the name of it.
That's
but
pretty
it was
interesting.
It's something that I want to watch, and that and all for all mankind.
Right.
If the space stuff was different,
I
like that. I like those alternate reality ones.
Yeah, I would like to see the World War II one. That would interest me.
Yep. I had I just I didn't watch a ton this week because there's so much sports.
I know.
So I watched a couple things on Netflix. There was that the Sky King, the Netflix, the American Gangster, but I don't think, one thing that caught my eye this week is remember John Edwards?
Yeah.
Psychic.
He's still around,
Yes.
and
now,
he's coming here.
I thought he was debunked.
Me too.
Thrown to the wolves.
Right.
All done.
I did too.
He's doing $188 ticket at the DoubleTree in East Syracuse. So he's gone from the Civic Center to the DoubleTree, which is nothing wrong with the DoubleTree. I've played many DoubleTrees in my life.
Right.
But somebody that's gone from top of the world in that entertainment realm,
$188.
It was like $188 a ticket kind of thing.
He belongs in jail. All those guys belong in jail. It's all BS.
I remember back in the day when we used to do the ghost stuff. You used to
No such thing
volunteer
as
to
ghost.
go with a shotgun.
Yes. If I hear anything, I'm blasting. Nobody took me up on it. The Landmark didn't. I said, I'll wait for the Landmark ghost, but I'm blasting. And nobody took me up on it, which is too bad. Yeah, I don't like people like that, psychics. There was a woman from in the New York City area. She's still out there.
Yeah, Teresa Caputo.
Yeah,
right?
yes, right.
I think it's a big grift.
It is a grift, and the thing that makes me mad about it is it preys on very vulnerable people when they're at their lowest. Right?
Yes.
You're buried in grief, and this guy tells you, well, you can talk to that person. Just give me $188.
Now, this isn't any slight on any kind of religion or anything, because, man, whatever. If you feel that whatever religion you've got, I just don't believe that anybody can talk to the dead.
No.
Like that. Like you're sitting down with an Ouija board, and
No.
it just doesn't jive for me. I'm all about it. If you think that there's an afterlife, maybe there is. There's got to be there's something. There's some kind of force around us. We just don't know what it is. But that force is not making your hands say, hi, how are you?
But if you give me $188, I'll let you talk to somebody.
I'll tell you whatever you want to hear.
Exactly. Yep, that's awful.
I mean, all the years that Phil Donahue had those people on debunked, and the people still go for that. But hey, it's another form of it's the circus.
Yes.
It's like the circus.
Right.
It's the old time carnival.
Yeah.
Carney.
Yeah.
What was that show on HBO? Carnival.
Right.
That's what it is. That's all that is today.
I read a book by a guy who grew up in the carnival life, and he wrote a book about all of it. And it was really, really interesting to see. But you're right. All that has evolved from, all we have now evolves from that. All the grifts we have now come from that.
So, back in the day, you had Ringling Brothers that would tour.
Yep.
You have the Ice Capades. That's all one company. It's
Shriners, right? The Shriners did a circus.
Yes. So the big ones, Disney on Ice, the Ringling Brothers is Ken Feld Entertainment. That's one umbrella, right?
Okay.
So back in the day, the business model was, we'll get these people in with $10, $15 tickets, cheap. We'll get them in the building and then charge them for everything else.
Yeah,
Face
right,
painting. Popcorn comes in a special bucket.
Right.
T-shirts, but you're not paying a ton for that stuff. It's still low, but you're buying more of it because it's low, and that's not the grift, but that's the business model, and that's always been. But now, with the way tickets are so expensive with everything, and you have that, it's just you're priced out of it, because Ringling Brothers is back without the animals. It's a whole different thing now. And I was looking at the tickets, and the tickets are up there in price. And I'm sure all the face painting and the snow cones, and they're still there.
Oh,
they're still there.
Well, shall we bring our next guest up? And we're honored and happy, of course, to have our Congressman John Mannion join us. Congressman, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm not a Braves fan, but that hat is something sweet right there.
I
said the same thing to him.
I'm over the moon for it because.
Oh, thank you. Boy. Love it. Thank you. All right. So, Congressman, what's hot down there today? What are you guys talking about today?
Absolutely. Well, listen, we actually have a lot of things on the table. Not to get too wonky here, we passed something called the rule before we go to the floor with any legislation and after things have been through committee. The rule basically means, what rules are we playing by? What debate? Can you amend this legislation on the floor? we can save that for another time. But some big things. One of them is the Farm Bill, which has to be reauthorized
Yes.
every 5 years. That actually is going back to rules, the Rules Committee, and we will vote on that another time. So it makes things a little bit easier because there's controversial things in there, like
Yep.
we didn't restore any of the nutrition cuts to SNAP. And then there's some pesticide immunity that's in there that is firing up a lot of folks on both sides of the aisle. So we have this item called FISA, which is basically a surveillance reauthorization that every administration has used as a tool to keep us safe, prevent terrorist attacks and other bad actors. And it is surveillance on foreign entities outside of the country.
Okay.
So it is a major national security piece of legislation. That was part of the rule, which means we probably will be voting on it later. As you can imagine, there's great concern
Yeah.
for a long time about any type of surveillance, because some American citizens do get caught up in that in case that exchange is between them. But our ranking member on intelligence, Jim Himes, has done a good job of talking about how this is really a necessary tool, and a lot of reform has happened when it was in the Biden administration. We passed legislation. But people have concerns about this FBI, this NSA, and I understand all of that. But the president and all those organizations are already functioning under this law. It's just that the law will expire. So those are all some of the things we're working on. We're approaching a 60-day deadline where the president has to come for authorization of the war also.
Yes, I was going to ask you about that. What's that feeling on Capitol Hill right now in both parties?
Yeah, well, listen, first of all, as I have said on here before, and I'll continue to, we've got to continue to support our military. And we can all agree that Iran having a nuclear weapon and being the largest state sponsor of terrorism is a dangerous thing. I do not believe that this war should have been started at this time without clear and defined objectives. And it's very costly. When I was running for office and people were screaming about inflation, I said, the president just cannot flip a switch and make a change. It's complex. I'm no economist. But now we know that our gas prices are higher for really one reason, and that is the closing of the Strait of Hormuz. So we have to achieve those objectives, but hopefully not at the expense of additional American lives, not at the expense of our status around the world, not at the expense of civilians in Iran, and certainly the cost. We have not had money for many things, including nutrition assistance and a number of things, but we're blowing through $2 billion a day for a war and decreasing our defensive stockpiles as well,
Right.
which is, of course, of great concern. The president and the House are coming with a new spending bill to the tune of 1.5 trillion for defense budget. And just as sort of to compare that, we just passed something that has 1.5 trillion, but that was record numbers, about a half a trillion more than in the previous fiscal year. And also we're looking at a request for supplemental funding to replace the lost weaponry and machinery to the tune of $350 billion. And sometimes we're talking about tens of millions of things we don't have money for down here, but we've got it for war that where we live, very unpopular.
Yeah, very unpopular. Where's this money going to come from in the long run? How do you make up that kind of money? How do you we're talking about trillions of dollars.
We are, and both sides of the aisle, and we can talk about Thomas Massey, who has certainly sticks to his principles. His principles are that we are putting future generations in an awful position, and he is right. So he doesn't just say it and run on it and advance legislation about it. He votes accordingly, and that usually means some of the time anyway, he's voting with us. I have to put this on people's radar, which is, the big, beautiful act or ugly act or whatever we want to call it, it's estimated to add 2.5 or 3.5 trillion to the debt, but that's on top of the 2 trillion that we're already going to add to the debt every single year. So we're staring down in 10 years, 60 trillion in debt. We can't do that. Listen, I also want to provide supports for people who need it, but it's the American taxpayers that are paying on the interest on that debt and paying for Tomahawk missiles and paying for a lot of other things too. So this is where we got serious challenges in this country. We've got to work together. I've been criticized for not playing ball, but I have had my own legislation passed through committee unanimously with bipartisan support. So I'm here to work with anybody. We do have a president that is saying really some harsh things about the opposition party, including me, and that divisiveness is puts us not in a better spot. I look at what some of my Republican colleagues voted on in the previous Congress and how they're voting now. And again, not everybody and not every vote, but a lot of that has changed under this administration where they're fearful to break away from what the president's wishes are. So, we need a tax structure that works where the ultra wealthy and corporations do pay their fair share. And we're not seeing that. We're seeing it harder to make ends meet in this country. And part of that is that the people that need the supports, a lot of those supports are going to the corporate level and they're paying too much in taxes. They can't
What was
afford a lawyer or a tax attorney or
Yeah.
an accountant,
That's true.
What was
Yeah.
the conversation the night after the alleged shooting at the banquet? What was the
Yeah, well,
conversation?
Sure. I denounce all forms of political violence in every setting. And people will say, be careful about what you say. I am careful. I'm going to be critical of the president, but, I signed on to a piece of a resolution that denounced the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and it said some really nice things about Charlie Kirk in there, and some people didn't appreciate that. But I understand the seriousness of this. So I had some of my colleagues that were there, and I didn't intrude too much on what it was like in that dynamic situation. But I can tell you that a few days later, when I spoke to them, or we were in these chats with each other, rooms with each other,
Yep.
they're fearful that this is going to become the new normal, and they're not wrong about that. The American people want transparency. They also want us working together. And again, we could have a lot of people in the highest position of power in this country that would not be nearly as divisive as the president is. And I do think that that has a major impact on what we can and can't get done.
I got a question, Congressman.
Mhm.
How is it in your office alone with the rhetoric coming at you? I'm sure you've had some emails and some calls that you've had some concern about.
Yeah.
How is it? Do you feel that it's ramping up, staying the
Yeah.
same, or
So listen, this is a full contact sport, right? This is not for the faint of heart. And
It's
we
true.
need good people to go into these positions. And if they had conversations with members of my staff or myself or John Katko or his staff, and you hear about those credible threats, it's going to discourage a lot of people. And we can't have that. I would have to speak with my team, but I believe it probably peaked just after the Charlie Kirk assassination,
Right. I
but
can
it
see
has
that.
remained elevated and waned to a degree. I tell my children, my supporters, my friends, don't look at social media because there's some really nasty and also like not real commentary on there that are by bots or paid people or whatever to just make myself and regardless of party out to be not credible, not ethical people. But that's one side of it. So the sergeant at arms down here in DC takes the security of elected members very seriously, and they've enhanced the programs that already exist to make sure that we are safe. And I appreciate that. I will tell you that where we all live, people are very kind. They allow me to do my thing in public. If they do say something, they keep it very brief. And I always feel safe, whether I happen to be in a very dynamic setting where there's security there or not. I'm still a human being. I'm still going to Wegmans. And that's where the real conversations can happen. So, listen, I appreciate you asking. But again, we have to denounce all forms of political violence and finger
100%?
pointing at the other party when it happens is just not helpful because we do know that there's a percentage of people out there who take this very seriously and are think they're in the right if they commit some act of political violence. That's it's not good for our future.
No, not at all. Congressman, thank you for your time. As always, we appreciate you coming on, and we'll talk to you again very soon, I'm sure.
All right, go Braves. I'll be looking
That
out
boy.
for those,
I like it.
those baby blues are pretty mint.
Awesome. Thank you,
Awesome.
Congressman.
Thank you.
That's
Yeah.
great.
And you know, before we continue and go
Yeah.
on to our next guest, we do reach out to the other side.
Yes.
And if there's anybody listening who has the ear of the other side, we're more than happy.
You reached out to Claudia Tenney, right?
Yeah. And we're more than happy to have
Of course.
have her on. And we don't do and you know, we don't do those kind of interviews.
No.
I'd love to hear what she's got to say.
Yes.
Love it.
Yep. So that was a great question, because I worry about and I know that senators and congressmen and women worry about the same thing. I worry about the people back home.
Yeah.
You know, in this area, I worry about his family, you know, and anybody's family, not just his family, all politicians' families.
I mean, look what happened to the governor of Pennsylvania.
Yeah. I
people in
mean,
Minnesota.
yeah.
It happens.
yeah, it does. And it's scary stuff. I mean, there's too many people taking this stuff way too seriously and trying to take stuff into their own hands, which is always wrong. So, yeah, it's scary out there for them. I don't think there's any question. And, you know, I don't want to say this to him, but I said this to the people at one of the county departments I worked at, and my boss wasn't happy at all. But in one of the management meetings, I said, listen, there's not one of us who's safe. Are you kidding me? At any moment, if someone wants you, they got you. Okay.
100%.
That's it. Now you just have to live a life where no one wants you dead. That's all. But, and you know, there's no, and I told my boss this because she got upset. There's no metal detector in the Civic Center. Okay. So any building where there's no metal detector, you're not safe. And that's the way it is. They just have to, you can't think about it every day. You can't live your life like that. You can't.
I mean, jeepers, you're going through metal detectors at sporting events.
I know, but it's the truth. So, you know, that's what I worry about. I worry about the politicians' families. It's terrible to think that they could be targeted. Shall we bring Grant up? Because I know that our next guest, Grant Reeher, here he is. He was listening to the congressman. So, Grant, first of all, lovely to have you as always. I'm interested to hear what your take was on what he had to say, especially about the political climate.
Yeah, overall, and I've had this impression before. When I listen to him, he strikes me as kind of a Democratic Party version of Jim Walsh.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
And
that's a compliment, by the way.
Well, sure. I mean, it would be. You know, the guy served 20 years and successfully, and so he certainly believes what he believes, and he's and he is an advocate for Democratic Party positions, and we are so polarized right now that sometimes that takes a pretty sharp edge. But I think he also tries to be reasonable, and that's what reminds me of Jim, and and is not is not out there on the extremes, taking advantage of these kinds of events to make the points that some of his colleagues have tried to make. So I that's the only thing, if I could be a little cheeky and tweak them a little bit. I know that every politician uses this phrase, well, you got to get in Wegmans, and that's where you have the real conversations. True, but he's also got to get to Aldi's as well. You can't just Wegmans is getting pretty pricey and is getting pretty elite. So it's
been pricey and elite.
It's a very rare trip for me.
You said it. Oh, yeah, you said it. So he's got to get to Aldi's too. But
Aldi's.
other than that, it was all good. Yeah.
Yes. And he's an outlier because both sides of the aisle, and it's not just Republicans, both sides of the aisle, they don't want to cooperate with one another, and it's getting old, and people are hopefully going to pay attention at the midterms, and it's about turnout, of course, as it always is, and so we'll see what happens. But I mean, we need cooperation, and it's getting worse with Trump. Trump is getting worse, and now he's ramping up, going after journalists and others like Comey, and the American people have seen through all this crap now, and even his supporters is like, why are we even paying attention to this stuff? Why aren't we trying to fix the stuff that's really wrong? So, you have an event like this, you would think that maybe I'm talking about the shooting, maybe
Yes.
it brings them closer together, but that doesn't seem to be the case, unfortunately.
It almost looked like he
no.
wanted to at first, but that speech he made right immediately after
It was good.
was great. The first part of it, and then when he went into greatest hits is when it goes.
That's when I turned it off.
Yeah, that's when it goes awry, and that's fine, whatever. But I really feel like I thought there might have been lights.
Yep, that one
of
moment.
humanity at that dinner that night that maybe would have advanced some of this, or would have taken back some of this rhetoric.
Yeah,
but
no.
An incident
I think
happened.
the country is so polarized on party lines and polarized on Donald Trump himself that any event gets rendered through those opposing camps. It doesn't matter what it is. I mean, we meaning the collective we, political scientists and other commentators, thought that COVID might have been that moment, and that didn't last very long.
Nope.
So I think the only kind of moment that's going to do what you're, Bill, hoping for, or hoping to hear, is something that we don't even want to contemplate.
Yeah, I know.
That it would
It's gonna be something like a 9/11 kind of.
something almost even beyond that. And
Right.
At this point.
At this point, and so I just don't know whether people have the wiring anymore. To do what
Great point.
you're hoping. I just
what?
think it's gone.
And we've had this conversation before. Your students, this is all they know. This is the only thing that this is presidential assassinations at this high rate.
They know, right?
Is something that for them, they see that on the television. It's like, well, it's Tuesday. For us, it's like holy cow. When I was in school, the only attempt was the one on President Reagan's life. That out there. I'm sure that other presidents have had attempts that we don't know about.
Ford, right in his face.
Yeah, we go back a little further.
You guys go. Yeah, you guys have
right in his face. Had that gun right in the face.
Yeah, Ford had several. You mentioned students. I'm glad you did, because the other thing that the congressman was talking about was, and I share his concern here, the size of the national debt. It's been a problem for a very long time, but we're now to the point where that number is really concerning in terms of its relationship to the size of the economy. And history does not suggest that we're in a good place. Now, the idea always is, well, we're on the cusp of another great period of economic growth, and then this will, because there have been times in the past where people have said the debt is getting to a crisis level, and then it didn't cause a crisis. Here, though, I think we're in a different territory. And one of the things that I do say to my students, half joking but half serious, is I always make sure that before the semester's over, I apologize to them for leaving them with this problem. It's not, Jim, it's not going to be our problem.
No, it's not. No, that's for sure. It is going to be a problem, though.
Bill's problem and Bill's kids' problem.
Bill's daughter's problem. My kid's problem. That's right.
It's just, if we don't figure out, it's just going to get worse.
Yeah.
And worse.
Yeah.
And it's going to be all in this whole, it's us against them.
Well, he tossed around those numbers, and I had no idea, actually. I knew the $2 billion, it was $2 billion bucks a day, right, for the war. I knew that, but the trillions that they have to allocate now, that's insane. It's insane money.
But what's really scary, again, is when you compare, there are graphs that do this, are easily found on the internet. I encourage all your viewers and listeners to go check this out. They'll find it very quickly. But go look for the size of the national debt in comparison to the GDP. We're at a place where we haven't been since World War II, and we're on track to exceed that. It's really uncharted territory right now, and it's very concerning.
Yeah, that's not good. All right, Grant, thank you for your time as always. We appreciate having you on, and we'll talk again very soon.
Look forward to it. Thank you.
Later.
Grant Reeher from SU's Maxwell School. He's awesome.
Always there for us. It's great.
Yeah, he is. And so is Mannion so far, Congressman Mannion.
And like I said, I email, I told you I'll start calling the office, and it's not, we don't want to play gotcha. We just want to have it on, because we don't want to be said that we just have one side on, because we don't do that.
No, they just don't want to come on, and that's fine. That's up to them. I mean, we'll start. We're working on the governor. We may get the governor. That'd be awesome.
I'm in full communication with the office now.
That's awesome. So we may get her. That'd be fantastic. We'll do a special with her. We
Yeah.
get the governor. We'll do a special.
Yep.
Just run. It's like Scott said. People don't want to wait for news. It's like I don't know why network news isn't taking the example of the newspapers, right? Because the newspapers were awesome for hundreds of years. I mean, literally, right? Look at them now. They're done. Newspapers are done.
Can't even get once a day with a newspaper.
I know it's done. They're done.
What days do you get? What days is the Syracuse paper?
Isn't it Thursday? I don't know. Thursday. I know Thursday and Sunday. I think. But
Sunday,
you get the Sunday paper, right? Which is fine, but it's old news.
Yep.
Because and I will say Syracuse.com does a great job. They do a great job.
And it's really, if you think about it, what is it, $10 a month?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: when I remember when websites first started, and the people who ran, I think it was Clear Channel back then. I don't think it was iHeart yet, but they said, and they were right in the long run. They were right. Use the radio to promote the website.
Yep.
That's what they always said, and they were right.
We always would have interviews on the website.
Yeah. They were exactly right.
Inside baseball, obviously, that's just another revenue stream for
yes
the company, because you can banner ads and click throughs.
And it's interesting because now radio's done, and the internet is everything. So, I mean, I use Sirius when we're in Shalene's car. I don't have it in my car, but we have it in her car. We love it. Absolutely love it. Now we have it on Alexa too.
I love it. I don't know what I do without Sirius. And I just found out that I'm overpaying.
Oh, really?
I have a companion subscription. So then my wife would be able to use in her car, but we're also paying for it in her car.
Oh, okay.
So we've called and they've fixed that, and it saved us $25.99 a month.
There you go.
And
nice.
and mine's a little more. My package is like 30 something, because I got to make sure I got to have baseball at all times.
And it's interesting because you can get every baseball game there is.
Yes.
On the radio.
Yep.
Which is
and
awesome.
Sometimes, even when it's on television, I like to listen to baseball more than I do watch it.
Cool.
Especially back in the days, man, when we were working at WSYR.
Yep.
And I was watching John Sterling call a baseball game, and it would be completely different than what was going on in the baseball game.
Hey, I give him credit for working into his 80s.
Yeah, man.
And he still had that voice.
Yep.
That voice, man.
I don't understand her. I still don't.
Yeah, Susan's crazy. They need to retire. Everyone associated with that needs to go, and then they need to start.
Well,
fresh.
she's with like a younger dude now. He seems like he's
he is good. They're with Dave Sims. She's with Dave Sims.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Dave Sims.
Yeah.
He's good, but he's not great. He's good. The Yankees need to have a great radio announcer. I mean, they have a great television announcer. Michael Kay is awesome.
Yes.
I love David Cohn, and I love Paul O'Neill. I know some people don't like him. I love when they talk to each other about stories and stuff from that age. I love it. So I think they're great. I think the Mets broadcasting team is great.
Hernandez, great.
Yes. Yeah. And Ron Darling,
Yep.
he's fabulous. I know they're losing Howie Rose. Howie Rose is retiring finally after 40 years, I think. He's been great. So you're in a major market. You need to have the major market guys. You should have the best of the best. And I don't think the radio crew does. Susan she's fine, but get some new blood in there. Get some, and don't put a cookie cutter yucker in there as your play-by-play guy. That's awful. There's nothing worse than that for sure.
We got Jeff Francona for the Braves. Good
on radio.
Yeah, I know on
TV.
CJ Nitkowski.
Okay.
Pitcher and Brandon Gowden are our three guys, but there are certain broadcasts where they bring back Chipper, Andrew Jones, Brian McCann, and it's a riot.
Chipper's funny. Chipper's a funny dude.
It's like, and the thing with Atlanta is they all stayed there. So like Andrew Jones still lives in Atlanta, Chipper still lives in Atlanta, Brian McCann I think still lives in Atlanta. So they're all like boys still, and it shows on those broadcasts. It's a lot of fun, those broadcasts.
Multi-million-dollar boys.
Have you ever been to the restaurant K-Pot on Erie Boulevard?
No.
Let's take a second here. Now, Aria's 14th birthday was on Sunday.
Okay.
So as you know, I get along very well with my ex-wife. So we did a joint dinner on Sunday at Now I
Nice.
just found out that my daughter likes K-pop.
Okay.
I've never taken her there. Friends of ours has. Great. She loves ramen.
Oh, okay.
So they have. So it's you have. It's like a buffet, right? And you have in front of you a stove, like a thing. So you cook your own food.
Okay. Red Chili has this on Erie Boulevard.
And you have a pot.
Yeah.
Warmer. They bring out the soup for the ramen, whatever. But all the ingredients are raw. You have to cook the ingredients before you put it in.
Okay.
Now listen, great. If you like to do that thing, it was a lot of work.
I like my dinner cooked for me in a restaurant.
It was. Now I've been to Melting Pot before. This is kind of the same.
Okay. That's
cheese
fondue.
Yeah,
That's
fondue,
fondue.
and it cooks the meat. But this was like a whole. It was a whole thing.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
And it was great. The food was great. I did a great job cooking the food. But it was 2 hours and I hardly ate it all.
Yeah. No. I like to be in a restaurant where they cook the food for you and then bring it to you.
Those are my favorite kinds.
Bring it to you. Say,
the price of it wasn't that bad. I think it was
Okay.
$34.99 a person. But they have ribeye,
oh,
pork shoulder, all the good Korean barbecue.
Oh,
meats.
nice. Okay.
Yeah, so it's and that included both the meat portion and the pot soup broth
oh, okay.
version. So it was good. It was good that way, but I
Where is it?
don't know. It's the old Tilted Kilt behind Chuck
Oh,
E. Cheese.
okay. Yeah, that was a major flop. The Tilted
And
Kilt.
we had that conversation during the dinner. I used to love going to those places because they weren't here. So anytime I'd travel out of town, there was a Tilted Kilt or
okay.
a PF Chang's
Sure.
or a Dave and Buster's. I would go. Now that they're here,
Yeah.
I never go.
That's right, because you can get it here.
I never go.
Yeah, it's like when I went out west for the first time and had Coors beer.
Yep.
Was not at that time. It wasn't east of the Rockies, really. East of the Mississippi for sure, and it was like a huge thing. You know, you had that and Olympia in Washington State. Olympia beer never made it out here.
So that's
until
like
years
the
later.
Iron City in Pittsburgh.
Yes,
kind of
yep.
stays right there. And
Yeah.
sometimes you'll see it, at the craft kind of things because
Yep.
it's a different kind of thing. But yeah, so I'm in process of cleaning my mother's stuff out after she passed away in 2021, and I've had a storage unit forever, and we rented a dumpster to get stuff out of the house.
Yep.
And I almost threw something out. This is the coolest thing.
Oh,
I
love this.
So I think we've talked about it on here before. My
We have.
grandparents were embedded in Three Rivers Inn. My
Yep.
grandfather was the head chef. Grandmother was the head host. When my mother was old enough at the Newer Rivers, she was a waitress. My uncle was a line cook with my grandfather. It's the family business.
That's
Three Rivers
awesome.
Inn. So I'm going through this stuff and I see this, which first even just having this
Yeah,
was the coolest thing ever.
exactly.
Because I haven't seen anything this old of the Three Rivers. A lot of the stuff that I still have is the newer version of the Rivers.
Okay.
Like I have a picture of Foster Brooks with my grandfather in the lobby with Don Bruno, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm going through this and I open it up and man, this is just the coolest thing.
Must have given you
I got
goosebumps.
goosebumps. So that's Tony Bennett.
Yep.
And my mom
Yep.
when she was a child.
Oh man.
And it's
Oh.
personalized to her. And I'll put this up on
Uh,
I'll take a
I just got
photo of this.
goosebumps.
And I'm so glad I was just going to toss this box out because it
Oh.
looked like just a whole bunch of junk. But I'm glad because I found some other old pictures too
That's
of
great.
my grandfather and my grandmother and
That
stuff.
is
So
awesome.
I'm going to do what you said. I'm going to see if I can get this picture restored a little bit.
Yep.
Put it in some sort of frame that shows off this has got to be 50, at least 50 years old.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And
That's more than that.
The autograph is just so bright.
I know. It's
on
awesome. It is.
So this will be. I'm going to frame it and put it up on the wall. That's going to be mine.
That's fantastic.
So-
Fantastic find.
How that Phoenix, New York, was 3 Rivers Inn. My movie pick of the week.
Okay.
Is the 81 horror movie Happy Birthday to Me, and why this is goes along with Phoenix, New York is the opening scene is filmed on a drawbridge. And at that time, when this was filmed in 81, the only one that did what they needed it to do for the movie was the one in Phoenix, which is 3 houses down from my in-laws. So in the beginning of this movie, there's a bar scene
Okay.
and you see them coming out of the there's like a little bridge house that's
Okay.
next to the. That's not what the bar, the inside shots were. It's the outside shots. They get in their car and they jump the bridge.
Really?
Again, that's the beginning scene, one of the beginning scenes of the.
And that's in
movie.
Phoenix, New York.
That was Phoenix, New York. It's
That's awesome.
3 houses down from. If you know where the well, it's different now. The bridge is on Bridge Street.
They build a new bridge.
Yeah, that's the new bridge, the
Okay.
one that's next to Lock 1 there. So a street down is where the old one, where the
Oh,
bridge
okay.
house is. That's where the bridge was, and that's where that was filmed.
That
So
is very cool.
This is and why this one is. This is the UK release. And It's got some
Nice.
other special.
Nice.
It's got some special features.
Is that a Criterion?
No, this is Indicator, which is almost like
The UK's Criterion?
Yeah,
Excellent.
and then I watched one of my favorite 80s movies this week. I watched Cloak and Dagger. Remember Cloak and Dagger
Yes.
with
Yeah.
Dabney Coleman?
Yeah.
It's a great movie.
I like that, Nicole.
It's good stuff.
Well, and this was a good pod for sure. We already have some stuff lined up for next time. So
It's gonna be good. We got something coming up. We're gonna have somebody on we haven't had in a while. She's gonna hang out with us and talk about some cool things that's
Yep.
gonna happen with her. And we got a whole bunch of new stuff coming out. It's good. We got it. Content.
yes, and if something happens during the week, or if we get the governor, we'll be back on and we'll let you know. So until then, take care of yourselves. Okay. God willing, we're all back at it next time on the Jim Reith Show Unleashed podcast.